So I've been thinking about Black Widow, and I posted my my video recently about how Black Widow, is being, some people who are writing about it are talking about how it's this very, it's this feminist movie, and there was this one terrible piece. Well, actually, the review wasn't super bad, but the paragraph in the review that talked about how it makes men squirm while it puts them in their place, that was pretty bad. For one thing, I don't think that feminist, or that girl power, powerful, I don't want to say girl power, that sounds bad too. Movies about strong female protagonists, whether they're superhero movies or not, they don't need to be strong female protagonists because they put men in their place. I feel like that goes against sort of the whole idea, not just because, I'm like defending men or something, but because this is a terrible way to frame like female empowerment. It doesn't just come because you either act more like a man, look like more like a man, do jobs like a man does, or put men in their place. The powerfulness or badassery of women should not rely on anything to do with men. It should just be, being a badass. It shouldn't rely on anything beyond that. Just like being a man doesn't have to rely on putting women in their place, being a tough guy or whatever. It's sort of just a very strange way of thinking or framing, empowerment or badassery. And I think it's, I think it turns everyone off. It turns off men. It turns off women. It turns off, anyone that's getting engaged in a conversation about what makes an awesome, female protagonist. It shouldn't have to, shouldn't rely on men, which I think is a fairly non-controversial thing to say. I would say even potentially a little bit of a feminist thing to say. But I would also, I've been saying this for a long time now, that, shaming men, accusing men of mansplaining and all that stuff is just a counterproductive way to get men involved in the conversation of like gender equality. So, already talked about that. I'm still working on putting together my sort of larger review of Black Widow, but there's plenty of time before it comes out on the 9th. And I wanted to talk about one thing, though. One of the bad guys in this movie is Taskmaster. And we've known that for a while. And Taskmaster, of course, is a character from the comic books. Pretty cool character. I actually have a Fortnite Taskmaster skin, which I think is pretty rad. But this antagonist in the comics has the ability of sort of mimicking other superheroes' powers. So like Captain America's shield, and I won't go further than that, but there's other fighting styles, things like that. It's the perfect mimic of other powers. So it's kind of like a jack of all trades character. But without spoiling anything, I'm really, really curious to see what the reaction from the fan base is. I have a feeling that Taskmaster is going to be the movie's most controversial character. Again, I cannot spoil anything. The movie is not out, and I am not going to spoil what I've seen. But without going into great detail, I am very curious, and I will be touching back on this once I see the online reaction from fans, especially fans of this character, especially fans who really want these movies to be as accurate, or at least as close to accurate as possible when it comes to adapting the comic books. Obviously, everyone knows that the movies are going to be different, that there's going to be changes, but what those changes are, it does matter. I think some are more egregious than others, some are more controversial than others, and I think that some of the choices made with Taskmaster are going to piss people off. And again, I can't say. I just can't say. I'm sorry. I wish I could, but I can't. But I think it is. I think it's going to be one of the most controversial. I don't think that men being put in their place or being made to squirm by this movie, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think this is some like crazy feminist movie. I think this is just a movie about some badass chicas who happen to be trained as assassins in this sort of messed up Russian Red Door or Red Room or whatever. I'm getting the Red Doors of Call of Duty mixed up. Similar, actually. But I don't think that stuff's going to be controversial. I think that people are going to, I think if I could just guess on a few things, I think people are going to be kind of disappointed by the villain who's, you know, the sort of main villain, not Taskmaster, but the main villain, who's super lame. Really, I mean, honestly, kind of just a really lackluster bad guy. I think people are going to think the movie, if people are at all like me, and I know lots of people think I'm crazy, I think they're going to find that the movie's a little too long, and that even the action scenes just drag out after a while, because I think we've just been inundated with all this MCU, Marvel, action movie, superhero movie stuff, and you know, there's only so much that you can watch of that before you're just like, okay, I've seen it, I'm kind of bored. I think that the other big thing is going to be Taskmaster. I think maybe that might be the biggest. So I'm curious to see what people say. So come back to this video when you've seen the movie. If you see it on Disney Plus Premiere for $30 if you go to the movie theaters, or if you wait and watch it down the road, or if you just read about this in some on some forum or in some blog post, or maybe I'll make a follow-up video. But come and tell me what you think. Maybe, you know, I think there's going to be 3 different reactions, or maybe 4. I think 4 reactions, and these are sort of the reactions that we see to everything when it comes to like nerd culture and adaptations. The first reaction is good. This change is good. This change makes for a better superhero tableau. Like, it's more, you know, there's more representation, yada yada yada. Number 2, anger. Oh, they've taken my character and they've changed my character that I love in a way that I don't like. Ignorance. Never heard of this character, don't care. And acceptance, which is, you know, okay, they've changed this character. I don't think it makes the character better or worse. I accept that it's changed for the movie, and it doesn't matter to me. So either there's going to be a group of people that's very stoked by these changes, a group of people that's going to be very upset by these changes, and an even larger group than either of those put together that has no fucking clue who Taskmaster is, and then another group that's just like, whatever. And then there's people like me who are like, we're trying to predict the future a little bit and see what happens, and it's amusing. Anyways, yeah, check out Black Widow. Comes out the end of this week. I'll link to my review at Forbes and my YouTube video that I've already made about this feminism stuff. And yeah, check out my Patreon also. I'll link to that below. Like and subscribe. I'm really just trying to get some videos to break the 1,000 mark. Like, this is all new. This is all very kind of new territory for me, so I really appreciate all your support and watching and liking and sharing and commenting and just being part of this crazy experiment as I try to get into more YouTube and try to do more long form stuff. I'm working on, you know, scripting out some stuff and not just kind of going so extemporaneous and sort of ad hoc. I like just talking at the camera and to you fine folk, but I also want to write some things. I am a writer by trade. And writing for YouTube is, I think, going to help me be a better writer too, which is exciting. So thank you so much, and peace.